Some people, there's a teacher that's life-changing, right?
Oh,
And
I'm
other people
sure of
are
it.
like, yeah, I wasn't even,
I had a
you know,
teacher that was life-changing in a very mean, cruel way that once called me an idiot because I couldn't read and I stammered in front of the entire class. I'm giving you a real-time snapshot of the actions that you can take with inside of your life. What I
right.
mean by that is if you looked at your hydration or your sleep or your stress load or your immune resilience, now,
Mhm.
now,
Mhm.
now, you can make the decision for the rest of the day. What to eat. Your voice reflects how your nervous system and your
Yeah.
physiology are operating at all
Yeah.
times. So
And
simple. So to your point, if
that's
I
just
can give you,
remarkable.
yeah, if I can give you the roadmap for it, if we can give you
Yeah.
some suggestions along the way,
Yeah.
this is how to have the best every escape resort. It was
Right.
just optimizing the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing here is like if you want to make it back to shore, you're going to calm down. The
Mhm.
same thing for me is like as you're doing a startup, I see hot, flat, and crowded in my business, wellness,
Mhm.
longevity. But what I don't see is somebody solving the data to noise ratio. So for me, corporate wellness or like, how do I build teams?
Mhm.
I'm building a team. Well, genuinely, if I need my team up and going, not everybody should eat the same thing
Yeah.
all the time or take the same supplements, but I can make little individual assessments for you and have the best team. It's Moneyball,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Did you know there's a technology that's actually an app on your phone that uses sound waves to tell your brain what you want your brain to do? We had a young man that was on a guest on our podcast, the Mike Litton Experience, who had a traumatic brain injury. He was sleeping 3 hours a night. He's using NewCalm now and he's sleeping more. Go to newcalm.com, Mike15 promo code. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. Mike is passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
Alex Fredericks, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So, with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go up to today, and then we want to talk about the amazing things you're doing with this company called Tonewell. Thanks again for being here, bud.
thanks so much, Mike, for having me.
Appreciate you, man. So, where were you born?
I was born in Bergen County, New Jersey. Moved into Manhattan in seventh grade.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite thing about growing up there?
Well, I grew up from that latchkey Generation X, just
Mm-hmm.
come home when the street lamps came on kind of guy, and like go out on a quest. I started really young in the suburbs, so I was able to ride bikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go on miles and miles and miles of adventure. And by the time I was in seventh grade, going into the end of middle school, high school, I was living in New York City,
Mm.
and it was the same type of rock on tour, existential kind of go out and find the world.
Yeah.
So I just like the fact that being a curious person and having adventure was just stepping out the door. That's
Yeah.
really
That's
that's
so
really all
cool.
life should be, is like, the first step and then see where it goes.
I totally agree. Totally. What a great way to grow up, right?
Yeah.
So, growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
It's a really interesting question. I think it depends upon the era of my life.
Hmm.
I was very, very dyslexic, and music was very important to me because it helped me keep up with my peers, helped me with vocabulary and language and painting pictures and being able to speak and having confidence and things of that nature. So on some level, it was like whatever poster was hanging on my wall, because
Hmm.
that was what my aspirational, oh, I can do that was.
Hmm.
Looking back at life, to be honest with you, and I hope it's not a, a corny thing to say, but looking back now in my life, I think my father was like the person I admired the most.
Hmm.
I've never seen somebody make such moral decisions in the course of my life, and most of them weren't pertaining to me at all. He was a great
Hmm.
father, but I mean like the opportunities and the things that he chose. And he was a very successful, though he's still with us, he doesn't practice, but he was a very successful litigation attorney and
Oh,
had opportunities that I think most people in today's world would have jumped at. And he said, nah, it's just not for me, or
wow.
that's not the kind of person I want to be, that type stuff. And that in the difference of life for me, it was when I was very, very young. Both my parents, for that matter, said to me, you can be whatever you want to be as long as you do the best job of it. And that was anything. It literally was what my curiosity and was about. So if I were to answer it on both sides, like I aspired to be that guy, but the real role model for me, very fortunately, even though I'm a child of divorce, funny enough to say, was my father. Just
Yeah.
I like being a moral, kind person.
Yeah. I don't think it's corny at all. A lot of us have people in our family that are super influential to us.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like your dad was really grounded and sort of led by example. And it was a great example that he set for you. So,
yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. So, in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to think 13 schools in my time. Right.
Wow.
I was a latchkey kid. I was a move around kid. I'm the youngest of four. I have no problem with it, but it was always someplace new, right?
Yeah.
And since I was very dyslexic, English wasn't it. I loved history because I could just sit there and listen and learn. I'm very good at math. It just is one of those things you can do in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So those type of subjects where it was like compete to the finish line,
Yeah.
I was very good at. I
Yeah.
loved those. I'm a single sport type person, meaning I do combat sports. I did judo, I wrestled, and now do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And once you kind of figure out the parts and pieces, it's a race to the finish.
Yeah.
And that really always excited me in school. Those types of who can get that equation first? And so it could be physics, it could be geometry, it could be, history. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. Who came up with the answer and why did that happen? Right.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So did you have a favorite teacher in high school?
No. I did not. I am it's hard to speak about myself this way. I'm an exceedingly intelligent, high IQ person that is as rambunctious as anybody you've ever met. And like, I went to the University of Vermont and I had a philosophy teacher that was trying to tell me about life. And I just looked at the putts and I was like, dude, you've been here for 35 years, locked in Vermont. How are you telling me about philosophy of life?
Mm-hmm.
I too can read Kant and Locke and Campbell, and I think I'll just go read the books, right?
Yeah.
Like I was kind of always that guy.
Yep.
So no, I didn't have a favorite teacher. I had favorite mentors, people that you would come across and you'd be like, how do they do it that way?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I'm not saying it couldn't have been a teacher, but that definitely wasn't the people that I was aspiring to impress.
I got you. We ask everybody that question.
Oh,
and
some
people, there's a teacher that's life-changing, right?
Oh,
and
I'm
other
sure
people are like, yeah, I wasn't even.
I had a teacher that was life-changing in a very mean, cruel way that once called me an idiot because I couldn't read and I stammered in front of the entire class. And this is the 1970s, so welcome to a different world. Mm-hmm. And it bothered me
Stayed with you.
Core.
Yeah.
And again, like I like combat sports in a meaning mm-hmm. like you're gonna literally have to kill me now to get out of here. Yeah. Right. Like that's so it turned something in me mm-hmm. that I wouldn't say was a great experience. It was, oh, you'll never call me an idiot ever again, lady. Right. Type experience. So, and I believe in getting up off the canvas. So maybe I should herald her with being the greatest influence of my life, but nah, not going to.
Yeah, we won't do that. Yeah, if anybody that has the to say that to somebody is just, especially a kid, it's like
especially a kid. Like we're talking third grade. You're not.
I can't even imagine.
I'm not saying I was like a rambunctious 18-year-old senior. I'm talking about like the third grade Alex.
So I just had a conversation with my mother the other day, and I told her, I said, I know that all those parent-teacher conferences were just grueling for you and dad, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, they are for most parents, right?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but I bet they were really, really rough for me, for my parents, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, just so you know, because I'm back in school, so I'm 59 years old, and I'm in full-time college right now.
It's amazing.
I'm finishing my bachelor's and going on to my master's. I start my master's program in July, and I got 100% on a paper, and I called my mother.
Nice. I'm one of those guys that I was in like every gifted program you could put me in, but I couldn't pass a standardized test if it mattered.
Yeah. So for the last 50 years, my parents, 50 years ago, my parents were saying, listen, if you would just apply yourself,
I'm doing it.
Do so much better, right? You do so much better. Because I know you can't tell, but I was energetic. I couldn't sit still. I was,
Sure.
bored. I mean, hyperactive, the whole thing, right? I was all of those things. And I wanted to be the class clown and I wanted it right. And all the teachers were just like, "Ugh," right? So yeah. Yeah.
That's
I got
amazing.
you, man. I got you. So you graduate from high school. Where do you go?
I went to the University of Vermont.
Why the University of Vermont?
I wanted to go to Colorado College in Colorado Springs, but I was not accepted.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
said to myself, "Hey man, I like to ski.
Yeah.
Let me go to Vermont and ski. I like music. It's where Fish was coming out of at the time. Um, it was an easy. I had friends, older friends that had gone there, kind of thing. So I ended up in Burlington, Vermont. I left college after my first semester sophomore year. I found a band. It was far more interesting to me. I did the Jack Kerouac, went on the road. That was it, man. I ultimately ended up getting a associate's degree from a bachelor's degree, ultimately cobbling it together from a music theory school to be a sound engineer. Got enough of a piece of paper that people would leave me alone. But as soon as life knocked on the door, I was ready to go.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what you said earlier, right? You step out the front door and you take the first step and see what happens.
Yeah, I was not really made for a 300, 400 person lecture hall learning. It's just not
Me either.
It's just not how I learn. I don't find it interesting. I'm not going to go home and read 85 pages when we didn't even talk about why the heck I'm reading 85. It just wasn't my thing. I get it. Like, genuinely, if I went back now, I would do it differently. And I would have taken a course, like a path course, that would have put me into something. But at the time, in the early 90s, like going to get a liberal arts degree at a University of Vermont, great school, lovely town. I had such a beautiful time, but it wasn't the university for me.
Yeah.
So I found a band one day and I was like, this is what I'm going to go do, because back to being dyslexic earlier and music getting me through, and to what put me into my career, is it's a mindset thing for me. And what I mean by it is, like, if I see it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can just reverse engineer something. I saw a band in my mind's eye. I was like, oh, I can take these guys to blah. I approached them and said, I think that I can get you to that place. They're like, well, we got nothing to lose. And I was like, well, I got nothing to lose. And out into the world we went. And it was the era of a roll of quarters and a Rand McNally Atlas, right? So it was like being a great pirate. You would barnstorm and build, and what do you need? And we got to get that tomorrow. And it was a giant game of like scavenger hunt meets, build your destiny. And that was just more interesting to me because, like I said earlier, I could read philosophy books, and I do. I have a bookshelf of them. I love them. Yeah. They were very interesting to me, but sitting sedentary in a town just wasn't my gig.
So you go with the band. Are you managing the band? Is that what you were doing?
Sure. So I've been like a head chef and bottle washer, I like to say, in the music business. Like, I've been a manager and a booking agent and an A&R guy, and I've produced records, and I was a booking agent and a tour manager and a production manager. I have no other talent other than audience development and go-to-market strategy. Gotcha. Now, I'm not putting myself down, but in an industry of what do you do? If I can see something, I can make it happen. Yeah. So it's the story of the music business, like run over and my heart broken by a band that I gave everything for, whatever. And I went and got a job. I became a retail forecaster, and that led me into a retail manager. So I would go out for huge artists and make sure their record was in the right place and it sold through and all of that stuff. And then one day I got a phone call from somebody's manager, because I was the only guy standing, literally, in a very famous band that was having a huge infight. And I was so young, I didn't know any better. And I just said yes. That led me into being a tour manager and a production manager. And I already knew how to wind. It's just one of those, like, I picked up how to run a soundboard because I didn't want my bands to sound crappy in some little, dirtbag, flea bag place. Many years later allowed me to be like, no, you're totally lying to me about that one fader right there type thing. And, some people are like, well, you stuck up for me. Of course I did. The guy was lying. And those little tiny pieces of life was just a more interesting adventure. And when I wasn't going to be the president of Columbia Records or something like that, because I didn't have a law degree, to be honest.
Right.
I left and went into consumer product, like fragrance, cosmetics, skincare, vitamins, supplements, whatever, all the way through the cannabis revolution and the blockchain and ICOs and NFTs and all of that stuff, because the reality of all of it is that if you have a DNA, like if you talk about and resonate a thing, and then it just goes in some sort of package box, that box goes on a shelf. People have to find it, brag about it, take it home, and cheer to their friends how amazing this new thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And as soon as you can do that, and you see, again, if I see it, I've said no to a lot of things. I said no to a CMO job of one of the largest tech companies in the world because, to be honest with you, I didn't understand it. And I wasn't going to lie to the guy because he definitely weren't getting a 5-year contract out of me where I had to pretend that I understood everything. I can't do it. So there's upsides and downsides to, to being that guy. But for me, it was just like, life's a puzzle piece. Go figure out what the shape is, stick it together. Oh, you have a border now, fill in the middle. All right.
So where did you finish your bachelor's degree?
Institute of Audio Research through what is now the Clive Davis NYU Institute, but it wasn't at the time. It was just NYU doing a music business degree. Now it's all prestigious and cool, and I could probably get away with saying what I just said about Clive Davis, but at the time it absolutely was not. I went to the Institute of Audio Research. I made sure that my credits transferred, and I got I got the associate's certificate here, and then I said to do these cobbled together.
Yeah. So I just earned an associate's degree about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And there was one class that I hadn't taken, and they did an equivalency thing where they used my experience.
Nice.
Because I've only been, in real estate for 33 years.
Sure. Exactly. Right.
And so they gave me credit for it, basically 3 units, and gave me an associate's degree. So my first college degree ever was like 4 months ago. And then my second one's coming in May of next year.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it was really cool.
But so to my point earlier, just as I had mentioned Colorado College, and why I wanted to go to school there was this. They taught, at least from my understanding at that time, early 1990s, they would do intensive courses. So you would learn a class thing that you would do for a unit, call it 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and that's what you would do. And then when that was done, you'd move on to the next one and the next one.
I like that. That's a neat format.
Here are 8 things to do at once that you have no idea what it is in a completely strange environment. There's going to be no granularity to it, by the way. It's all up here. Yep. And you're going to lose on the nuance game, meaning like, I don't know how to read well. I'm serious. Like reading comprehension ain't my shtick. Yeah. You want me to look at something? Yeah, I'm all in. I'm the greatest look at something guy you know. You want me to, I'm going to have to get back to you. Because that literally means I have to, and I love reading. I have a library, but I prepare myself. It's like a thing I do for me, right? 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, 9, whatever it is, how much time I have. But that's a discipline, just like going to doing jujitsu this morning or being prepared for a podcast this afternoon. It's a discipline, right? So that type stuff became really interesting. And like, how do you delve it out to be most successful in your own space?
So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to in the master's program that I'm starting in July. I'm going to be taking 2 classes at one time. So it's just basically single, right?
Yeah.
And I love that idea of taking like one class at a time, and you're just right. This last semester, the fall semester, I just finished last Friday. I took 7 classes in one semester. It's 21 units. Right. And it's like, I'm 59 years old. I hadn't been
it was a beating.
For 28 years.
And you're as organized as you're going to get in your life. You still took it. Yeah. Like
I felt like I was cross-eyed and drooling when we were done.
So what's interesting, to that real point is that I, as a startup entrepreneur, I still have to run a client base. Yeah. So I still have my company, AECC Group. It's what I do. I'm a consultant. I'm a 2-market strategist, growth engineer, coach, whatever fits into the space. And then I also am running Tonewell, which is, they're both 24 hours a day, because when I'm servicing client, I have to find the next client and do the work for the client and build the team for the client, manage the team for, and this morning I had to do my next 90 days of social media for Tonewell because I'm going to do it. I'm not farming that out to somebody else yet. Maybe all the way down the line when I have a DNA. But right now I'm still building the ethos. What are you? What is the thing? Why does it matter? What are you trying to solve? Like, I'm not leaving that up to somebody else. So I've had to bifurcate my life into how do I manage multiple calendars? And it's the same stuff.
Crazy. Can I ask you a question about dyslexia?
Sure.
I have it too, by the way. Did dyslexia and the challenge of reading, did that make you more auditory?
Oh man. First off, I have yet to forget anything I've ever been told in my life. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, I only think in shapes, colors, and pictures.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it. It's why I happen to be good at jujitsu. Is because when I'm competing with somebody or rolling, whatever, I actually because these are useless. So I close my eyes, like I don't need to see you. I'm holding you, and everything else now is time and space.
Yeah.
So it's what shape are you moving? What's the color density, meaning like how much trouble or not? And picture in my head, snapshot, oh, go that way, snapshot, go that way.
Yeah.
So the same thing is true in the way that I got through school. I repeated third grade, first, second, third, hence teacher ruining my world.
Right.
Fourth, whatever. So what I recognized was pay attention.
Yeah.
There are words that people use that we have forgotten. So like you can't pay for my attention is what you might say to a client that's really bothering you.
Yeah.
But pay attention is where you're putting your attention. And attention and intention are the things that make action into form.
Yeah.
Right? So like I intend to learn this, but my attention is not working on the page here.
Right.
So if I intend to learn something and I just sit up and I focus on the words, you're telling me what you want me to know. Believe me.
Yeah.
There's no fifth grade history teacher that's trying to outsmart me. They're trying to literally give me the timeline and the outline and the linear. And they do it in a way that is in a lesson plan. So if you have a plan and I can just listen to that plan, I bet you I can regurgitate that plan back to you.
Correct. Right.
So in that, and then combine it with the shapes, colors, and pictures thing, that I can recall anything that I've heard based upon the reference. Like if I meet you and your name is Jared and you're wearing a red tie, I promise you I will never forget your name for the rest of life. Simply because Jared, red tie, Jared, same stuff. Right?
Love it.
So like interesting for me is like in Tonewell, people are like, well, why does it work? Well, what I do is I take a 30-second voice clip and I break it down into markers. We have 8 quarter categories that we look at, which we can talk about. But what I really am doing is taking the acoustics, the temporal, and the timing, and I'm mapping it against very well-established frequencies, hertz and decibels, within inside of a wavelength. And therefore, I can talk to you about your sleep or your hydration or your mineral or your digestion, your immune system, so on and so forth. So I say that to say that the word by which you speak, in the beginning, there was the word. The word is really the important part. So when you're talking about your voice, it is one of the fastest whole systems, right? Which is why when you're listening to yourself speak, sometimes you're like, I sound like that. The answer is yes, because you're missing the vibrator. When you talk, you hear what this feels like and that. You're hearing both of them.
Right.
When it's coming back to you on a recording, you don't have the chest. You literally don't have the resonator. If you played guitar and was a dobro, you don't have the resonator right here. So it sounds really funky and weird. But inside of that clip is everything that you are. So to your question on the other side is that if I could just listen to somebody, I'm very good with clients that way, because you're really telling me something else. You're choosing these words, but the way that those words are coming to me, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Right. It's like why when you say to somebody, you better watch your tone with me, or I don't have the bandwidth for that. That didn't resonate with me. I don't really vibe with that. Those are frequency words. You hear a good piece of music and your hair stands up. It's literally resonating. It's making your hair physically react to it. Right. These are all the same brutal concepts. So on the nice feels good concept, the words that somebody says to you are as important as their actions,
right?
Because they dictate the action. It's the intention, the attention, the input, the output, the setting, all of those other things that people talk about in how to manage body language and all of that stuff. But really the word is, for me, it was the thing I paid attention to. Like reading books are for concepts for me, but they're in my own time. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
If I really want the information that you're offering to me, it's like when I talk to people about their decks, right? Like your deck, more than 10 slides, I now have to read. Get out of here. You're expecting way too much from me.
Right.
You want me to look at the deck, you need to tell me the story. And as soon as I know the story, then I'll ask the question. And the question is where you have the opportunity to sell. If I can't get the knockoff fragrance bottle in your hand, ooh, this looks interesting, right? Then I'm never going to sell you the piece of junk fragrance. So like if you're a really high level operator, you've told the story in a way that somebody goes, oh, let me ask about that. And yeah, and that's where you drive it home. So all of it to me is in how you frame the word.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I have two questions.
Sure.
Number one, when you're in jujitsu, when you're grappling, right, you're feeling their energy, right? Because they're trying to go a certain way. But you've got a hold of them and they're trying to go a certain way. They're trying to bring you with them, right? But they're trying to go a certain way. That's something that you don't really need eyesight for. That's more of a feel. That's more of a groove, right?
Sure. So the best piece of advice I have singularly gotten as a man, an adult, is this. I was a white belt, which is 13 years ago. And that's in my 40s. And I'm at a seminar for who is like the master of my lineage. He's the guy that gave me my black belt certificate over there because he's the top of the lineage. And he's being nice to me because I'm an older guy, just started, right? And he comes up to me and goes, Boha, brother, come here. I was like, okay. He goes, you got to learn to flow with the go. And I look at him and I said, don't you mean go with the flow? He goes, no. I speak 5 languages. Might be broken English, but 5 languages. And I went, and a 15-time world champ, and.
Well, you just said the words are important.
Right. I said, okay, could you explain that to me? And he said, sure. If you go with the flow, you'll fall for anything. If you flow with the go, you have to wait for your opportunity. Might not be good in this sport, but you have to wait for your opportunity and then you take it. And I went, it's why people suggest everybody should do jujitsu or a combat sport. It changes, it kills your ego, it changes everything, it changes the perspective. I can be fighting. I did judo for 20 years, so I can hold on to you forever. That might not be productive. What might be productive might be completely letting go and finding the next thing to swim through.
Right.
So I'm in my 50s. I train with guys in their early 20s, 30s, 19, 40, whatever. Right. Like I don't work out other than I take care of myself. I use my Tonewell. I take supplements and I do jujitsu 7 days a week. So like, I'm not looking to A, fight you, because that's a different conversation. But B, far more importantly, I'm not looking to out-muscle, outwork. I'm like, as an executive, you get to a point where you're like, dude, I've seen this move. Let's see where this goes. Boom, there it is. And then you just come in and you reap the reward. Like you are not, I'm not going to go with that flow. I'm going to sit right here and wait for my go. It's like anything. You can just watch people bubble and seethe. If you can sit there quietly, if you can introduce awkward silence into any negotiation, you're winning.
That's it.
If you can just sit there. There's a really famous story of the guy that founded TVT Records, and he was famous for not speaking, and people would negotiate against themselves. I want $1 million for this record. His name is Steve Gottlieb. Steve would sit there like, well, I could take 750. And the person would just talk themselves all the way down because he didn't need to go with that flow. So for me, it's all like anything you do. You say you walk, right? You walk 100 miles a month. Like, okay, but that started at 5. Right?
Absolutely.
And one day when it just wasn't feeling great, you're like, I'm going to go home. I'll just make it up tomorrow. And the day that you feel great, you're just like, I'm going to bang this out. I'm going to push it. Right. And knowing what that relationship with yourself is really matters. Again, it's why I'm a consumer packaged goods guy, 50 plus products in my lifetime, huge artist. I'm really excited about the people I've gotten to work with. Most of my stuff was brand extension. You were already a such and such, and you should have a fragrance. You were already a so and so. Why don't you have a vitamin in GNC? That type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I got involved in what I'm doing with Tonewell and threw my hat in the ring and now consider myself entrepreneurial as opposed to being an agent or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
is because I saw an opportunity to build a better relationship for people with themselves.
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple. I saw a technology that's no friction, very easy to use. A 30-second voice clip, talking to your phone for 30 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
untethered. You're not reading something,
Yeah.
right? And I can do it in about 5 minutes. We've stretched that a little bit longer, mostly because of volume. And most people don't believe that 5 minutes, they're going to get great value. But your voice can give me as much information as blood and urine. Now, we're non-medical. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not diagnosing anything. I'm giving you a real-time snapshot of the actions that you can take with inside of your life. What I
Right.
mean by that is if you looked at your hydration or your sleep or your stress load or your immune resilience, now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now, you can make the decision for the rest of the day. What to eat so you don't feel indigestion, what supplement you might want to take for energy. If you're a woman over 35, how to approach your hormones. If you're a man over 45, how to approach your hormones. If you just got off a plane because you're a startup person, are you dehydrated? What's your mineral load? Because you really have to go perform,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's for me why I got into what we're doing with Tonewell,
Mm-hmm.
because it comes off the same ethos that I have as like a builder for people. You know, like I describe myself to some people, I'm just a mean gym coach. Like I'm sorry, but you're going to get up and climb that rope. I can do it. You want to watch me do it? I'll do it. Doesn't mean that you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to go climb that rope. And I can show you how to do it. To your point we were talking about earlier, like what's the thing that drives? Well, for me, I'm not trying to save anybody. I'm trying to lead by example.
Yeah.
Meaning like I was a lifeguard when I was younger. And when I swam up to you, my foot was extended under the water. You are not pulling me down under the water here. I will kick you off if I need to. What I'm going to do is explain to you how to calm down, and I'm going to earn your trust, and you and I are going to make our way back to the shore because I need you to do X, Y, Z, whatever it might be in this situation.
Yeah, because if you don't calm them down, they can drown you in the process.
And I'm not here for that. Right? What I'm here for is to have the optimal side of the exchange. It's like when I was touring bands, I know this is a weird jump, but when I was touring bands, there were a couple winters where we played every ski resort that you could name to me, because how else was I gonna go ski every ski resort? It was just optimizing the opportunity, right? So the same thing here is like, if you want to make it back to shore, you're gonna calm down. The same thing for me is like, as you're doing a startup, I see hot, flat, and crowded in my business, wellness, longevity. But what I don't see is somebody solving the data to noise ratio. You have a wearable, you get your quarterly this, you get your that. They're just big data blocks.
Right.
A wearable, very good for you. But those are the outcome relationships. It's like you used to be a runner and you would write down in a journal, right, your heartbeat and you're resting this. Now it's just stored right here and it goes, cool. But that's the outcome. So what if you were managing the input and then looking at the outcome?
Well, you can design it. Right.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about what you're doing is you can design it, and it's at Amazon type speed, right? Because we've turned this society into an instant gratification society.
Yes.
And what you're saying is, give me 30 seconds, give me your voice, and I can give you these 8 things.
Right.
Right.
So like, you know, there's like, are you born with it or do you earn it? My answer is always like, well, there's traits and then there's repetition.
Right.
Certain people have certain traits, but if they don't use that muscle, right? So the traits that you have within inside of your voice, I can read, period, full stop. Right?
Can you take a second and tell us how?
Sure. So it's been proven by many white papers, many PubMeds, many NIH findings that 25 seconds, I do 30, need a bumper, doing something commercial, but 25 seconds of speaking, you've moved your mouth and your lips in every shape that you can possibly make. Your tongue has smacked the top of your thing. It's gone side to side. You've moved the A, E, I, O, U's. They're close enough. And when you're not thinking about it, so you're just speaking consciously, everything is turned on.
Not reading though. You're just
Not reading.
talking off the cuff.
It's like not thinking of breathing.
Right.
Okay. So you just talk, right? And inside of that, what you're doing is you're creating a wavelength, right? And that wavelength that's doing this is carrying mass amount of information.
Wow.
So what you're doing is your signal, we'll call it, it's my signal, I can read. It's like I can read how high a Wi-Fi signal is. I can tell you where the radio signal is. Well, you are that. You are the amplifier. You are the resonator. You are the radio station broadcasting. And since your entire body, your nervous system, your minerals, you're measuring the things that are moving with inside of you. So what we do is, again, I'm a non-medical, I'm a wellness company. I'm not trying to tell you what's wrong with you. I'm telling you what's going on right now. So you can maximize the opportunity. For example, we have had a couple executives that have done big travel, and we had one or two of them that had a precursor for a pneumonia. It's called CH pneumonia. Now, it could go away. Your body could absolutely do a job. So I'm not telling you you have pneumonia. What I'm telling you is that your voice today, right now, is carrying the frequency of everything that's organic resonates. Everything. It's why a crystal glass can be shattered by an opera singer, because there's a resonant pitch with inside of the certain note, right? The earth is 7.82 hertz. It's that right there are, if you listen to meditation music, 432 hertz makes you feel something. Well, the converse is true. When I started making records and I would mix a record, I would mix it on an oscilloscope, XY axis, that had an infinity symbol, a crazy 8 doing this. When it was all fuzzy, I knew that it was out of phase. Out of phase means everything is not lined up. It's askewed. It's rubbing against each other.
All over the place. Yeah.
And you would mix the hi-hat or the cymbal or the guitar or the drum, whatever, until you had a nice, smooth line, because everything was jived. It was all together, right? It was in phase with itself. So all of these concepts, as I said earlier, I don't have the bandwidth for that. Well, what's bandwidth? Bandwidth is from here to here. 88.3, where I live outside of Philadelphia, to whatever, 108.7, whatever it is. That's the bandwidth. How width is the band? Well, it's this much width in that band. Oh, okay. Well, how many signals can I sit in that? Name me radio stations starting from here and going here. Well, what happens when you're crossing over? You're going from New York to New Jersey, and the radio station goes a little quiet as you're going over the George Washington Bridge because it's reached its end.
Right.
Okay. So inside of that, that's the broadcaster. And in that broadcaster, that's what you do. That's what your systems are doing. That's what your organs are doing. It's how they're talking to themselves. It's why you get a defibrillator if you're ever, they are shocking you. That's electricity. Bung, back into it. Bung, back into it. Right? It's why your cells have certain wattage that they're, all of us are these electrical beings. You're taking a read of it is what we're doing. We're taking a read of it. We're using 25 years of computer learning. AI is what I process in my reports, but we're using computer learning, a aggregate network of information through computers that's using equational math to look for things. Is different than modeling. Modeling is really where AI comes into the equation. What do I do with it?
Right.
So what we do is we take your voice, we put it into our computer learning system. It maps out your signal, your wavelength, against top and bottom, peak and valley, and there's a median right here. So call this 0, the horizon line, and you're doing this, right? So inside of that, we're tracking percentage of decibel. How hard do you hit up? How hard do you hit down? Against, back to my Rand McNally map, against a map of what the body is. If you've ever seen an I Ching map, if you've ever seen a root map, you recognize that the nerves all run within themselves, and we're testing what the capability of that is. And then we map it against R8, which is hydration, sleep recovery, stress load, mineral electrolytes, energy, digestion, immune resilience, and inflammatory systems. From that, I take the outputs system, which comes to me in a JSON script, if anybody's interested. And I take that JSON script and I do two things. I bifurcate it. One into a very simple infograph so you can read, oh, I can look at that and see colors and shapes, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, what we call our readiness scan.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing in that is I'm taking AI now, and I'm modeling using the JSON script from the output. This is what your nerves are doing. This is what your fascia, this is what your minerals, and I'm making that into a report that you can look at and say, I have 3 to 5 actionable steps in the next week, the next 45 days, the next 15 days, depends on how you're engaging with us, that I can start making better decisions. And as I said earlier, our mission is to help build better relationships for people with themselves. So how do you do that? You don't do that with long form data. That's actually how you track stuff.
Yeah.
Your decision making is done by clear, practical, informational action items, meaning like you're having digestion issues. One of the things that we get all the time is that I'll say to somebody, you have oral health problems. And they'll say, we don't have cavities. I don't have it. I said, okay, but look 3 things down. It says you have digestion issues. Well, where do you think your digestion system starts? It starts in your mouth. So maybe like it simply says scrape your tongue. I don't know. Maybe if you scraped your tongue a couple times a week, your digestion will have better flora and fauna. And then when you put in your XYZ or your PDQ, you'll have this outcome, right? So that's really what we're doing. We're helping map for people their better decision making and what it would be like a decision tree off of using a real time, like snapshot now. Yeah. You get blood is great for diagnostics because it can tell you the big picture stuff, like the frame stuff behind me, so to speak. Right. But by the time it's done and it gets to, you go to Quest Lab and it gets processed and it gets to the doctor and the doctor calls you, even with inside of 3 days, you have the best health service in the world, probably more like 10 days. Your blood has changed. That's cool for big form diagnostic. You have heart failure, you have kidney problems, I can see all of that, but it's not good for today. I'm traveling, getting on a plane. And when I get off, I want to pitch somebody or feel my best, or I just got off a cruise with people. My children are telling me they don't feel well. I'm a peak performance person and I've been taking NAD for 3 months. Do I still need to take it? I'm not sleeping so good. What's my GABA? What's my really like the now questions is what we do.
So somebody speaks for 30 seconds, not reading, just speaks for 30 seconds, and you give them this feedback. So this feedback comes back. And does it suggest that they need to hydrate more? Does it suggest that they need to?
Yeah.
How does that work? Did you know there's an app that has no side effects that allows you to use sound waves to tell your brain what you want it to do? It's called newcalm.com, and it's amazing. It literally uses sound waves. If you want to tell your brain to go to sleep, if you want to tell your brain to recover, if you want to tell your brain to put you in peak physical state, if you want to tell your brain to focus, if you want to tell your brain to take a power nap, you can do all of these things and more with newcalm.com. Go to newcalm.com today, promo code Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go there today.
So our we'll call them reports, are, as I said, they have the 8 touch points. And inside of that, we frame 3 to 5 of them. The ones that are prioritized by your system. Not everybody has the same priorities. Yeah. Some people actually have toxins that they need to deal with as a priority. It's why that other thing isn't working, or pesticides or pathogens or environmental toxins. And we can say, we would suggest that you detox XYZ. Yeah. Somebody else, like, for example, we have a family office person, one of our early investors, that does an enormous amount of traveling, and he religiously uses it when he gets off an airplane. He wants to know 2 things: how hydrated he is, and 2, does he have a virus or anything of that nature, right? Those things show up. It really is in what you're using it for. Now, our report, if you work with us, touches on the 8 core pillars that I mentioned and gives you 3 to 5. With inside of them, some are actions. Go take a 10-minute walk after you eat. Yeah. Some of them are actuals. Eat bitter herbs. Eat more of this. Stop doing that. Some of them are supplemental. We suggest that you're having a hard time sleeping. Maybe this type of magnesium or a GABA or I'm only over the counter. End of conversation. However, we work with a lot of practitioners, and the
Mhm.
practitioners get two things from us. One, a very easy, manageable plan that their customers can engage with right now. It's not going to change any of your protocols or any of your treatments. It will probably support them because we're looking at the whole system and you're
Yeah.
doing something super specific. But secondly, we also give them access to all of the raw data. So we have 1,000 bio points that we look at from everybody. I just wouldn't deliver that to you. It would be gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But delivered to a practitioner, when they look at your fascia or your minerals or your hydration or your digestion and what's high and what's low, they can better tune in to how they're working with you. Practitioners being both medical and just modality people. You're a chiropractor, you're you're a Reiki person, you're a holistic practitioner, those type of things. You're a kinesiologist, right? If you're a kinesiologist and you can see that the person's hip is stressed, but they're also dehydrated and they're low on magnesium, you can put together your protocol for how to deal with their plantar fasciitis or whatever, their hip jaundice or
So
whatever.
how often do people do this? Like, it sounds like you said this one customer, this one user actually uses it when they get off the plane.
Yeah, so
when they're traveling.
he's a super user. Our average person is either like once a month, twice a month. We sell a 3-piece package. Honestly, one of our major, what I call personas, if I was talking about this, is like a business. One of our real personas is women 35 and above because of peri, pre, and menopause, right? Now, what's interesting is everybody has hormone issues, but they all turn off differently. Not everybody is turned off the same. And when you're by 35, you've probably already started tracking your cycle. I'm confident that it's written on your calendar somewhere. So if you bought a pack of 3 from us and you matched that in, your cycle just ended. Here's the test. You've done it halfway through. Here's the scan with us. You've done it at the end. Here's the scan with us. And now you're beginning to match that. You can then optimize on what days you want to take more, whatever it is that you're doing in your stack, right? We have I was gonna say, we have a bunch of peak performance people that use it the same way, just different reasoning.
Right.
I use it 3 times a month in my training cycle because, as I said earlier, like NAD, one of the greatest supplements of the last 5 years, once your body is turned back on and producing it, it's not actually something you need to take all of the time.
Right.
You want to make sure that your tank is topped up. Now, NAD, for great NAD, is an expensive product.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's a great thing to take, but you should also know that it's now working. Move on to, I don't know, iodine or whatever else is in your performance stack, right?
Yeah. So it's basically it's a snapshot, right? It's an eye. So if I'm hearing you correctly, and I'm sure this is, I'm just being sort of annoyingly curious, but so our levels are going, like, our levels are right. And it depends upon how much stress we're under. It depends upon how well we're sleeping, how well we're hydrating, all these types of things, right? And so you do it 3 times, you get a feel for here's where you're fluctuating, right?
Yes.
And then you can
Now,
address
mind
it
you,
once you get that feedback.
yeah. So here's the thing. So mind you, as a snapshot, it literally is in time.
Yeah.
So if I said, well, what should I do? Well, I personally would suggest you maybe take it first thing in the morning, before coffee, before anything, and that's called your baseline.
Yeah.
The other side of it is like, what if you took it absolutely at the end of the day when you have burned your candle on both ends, you've used the gas, you have what are you
You're ready to get horizontal.
What are you looking to optimize? Are you looking to optimize the end of my day? Your body will look totally different. You've eaten, you've put things in it, you had a good time with your buddies after work, whatever.
You exercised, whatever. Yeah, right.
Whatever, right? So, we're not as I said, we're not a diagnostic, okay? We're taking your signal, what you're putting out, and we're turning it into actionable steps.
Right.
Right. So if I were tracking something, I would say, if I'm going to do a package of 3, I'm going to make sure that I do it literally first thing in the morning, XYZ. However, if it's a snapshot, it's what I want to know now.
Yeah.
I traveled this last weekend. I'm fighting some sort of cold currently. I take the right supplements. My wife is a nurse. Believe me, my top shelf is stacked. Everything from oregano oil to NAC to kill my viral load, whatever.
Yeah.
I had to go down to Washington, D.C. the other day on an absolute last minute jaunt. I had already been to the gym. I'd already trained, and then I had to jump on an Excella down to DC, get off the train, and pretend like I was Rosie. So what I did, and I'm a user, I did a Tonewell, and when I got off, I ate accordingly to it, and I made sure that I didn't have caffeine, but I hydrated, and I had all of the energy and everything that I needed to make it through my presentation, because that's why I was going down there. I'm raising capital startup, right?
Sure.
So sure, I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Right there. Philadelphia to DC is not a right there, but I'll be right there.
Jump right in, right? The water's fine.
And my body was like, but it's Saturday. We should be napping.
Right. Hello. Right.
So what do you do? Well, I literally took a right now snapshot, and it points out all the things that are wrong. Like, I've been doing combat sports for 40 years. I have eye issues and my neck's jacked up, and I've had 3 knee surgeries, and it points them out every time. And I say, thanks. I'm aware of that. It's the thing that blows people's mind. They say to me, how did you know my L1 was strained? I said, I don't actually know anything. You're the person telling me. Like, that's why it's kooky. Because you're broadcasting it. Like, your garden hose has a kink in it and you can't tell why the water pressure's down. Right. Oh, let's go fix that. Let's go fix the kink, but you got to find it. Yeah. And you have 1,000 feet of hose. So, like, what are you going to crawl on the floor the whole time? You know, like, it's how you're looking at what your opportunity is. Like in most things in business, how are you taking not just data? You live in the information age. Information is useless. It really is. It's how you choose to take the perspective of it and then make it into an action item. Like, what's the clarity that you can look for in your business or your life? Well, for us, as I said, like, I'm trying to help you build a better relationship with yourself. If you make these action points, and I can help you feel better, which is something you can never argue with somebody, how they feel. So if I can make you feel better, then maybe you'll make the next step and the next step and the next step. And if you've paired that with your wearable, and you recognize that you've now gone from 3 miles a day to 10 miles a day to, I'm thinking about maybe doing a marathon, it's because the little choices that you made over here, right?
Yeah. So I can see a lot of application here, like executives that want to be top, like you're saying, top shelf, right? So like you had to make that, last minute jaunt on a Saturday down to a presentation, right? Because you're raising capital and it's a startup and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, okay, we're going to do something completely out of character, completely out of what we normally do. We're not in our pattern anymore, right?
Correct.
So that's something I can see executives using it. I can see top performing athletes using it. I mean, anybody that is sort of tuned in to how their body works.
So we have a bunch of great diagnostic guys.
This is a great diagnostic, right?
That are using it for recovery.
Yeah.
Right. So don't get me wrong. All of the modalities in recovery are so necessary. The cold plunge, the infrared, the hyperbaric, the saunas, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But what are you doing from the inside?
Exactly.
The outside's in. What are you doing inside out? How are you managing your ATP or your recovery, your cortisols or your stress or your sleep and something as simple like, I really like coffee and I like cold stale coffee on my desk. Doesn't bother me. I poured it at 7 a.m. The problem is that in about half an hour from now, I have to cut off all caffeine, period, because I like to go to bed at a certain hour. Right.
Instead of 3 a.m.
But it's those things, right? And caffeine doesn't affect me. No, it doesn't affect me. I'll still fall asleep, just not well.
Yeah.
Right. So there's peak performance athletes. If I could, like as my 2.0, I want to get into corporate wellness.
Yeah.
So my business partner is a guy named Dr. Bear Walker, just for all disclosure, because I'm about to tell a story about a practice of his. He has a corporate wellness client in New York that's one of the biggest law firms in the world, and we deal with one of their particular C-suite silos, and there are 30 executives in that silo, and he's been doing corporate wellness for them for 3 years, and he is a pioneer of bio tracking. It's what he's been doing for 40 plus years. And when we launched Tonewell, he said, Alex, I now no longer need to go in there every other week. I can go in once a month, because I'm going to get them all to do Tonewell every other week. And that information allows me just to make the little micro adjustments, right? So there's a practitioner side of it. The other side of it is once we started introducing it to them, they have amazing, buyback opportunities. So they're okay with buying bundles of scans for me and doling them out to their executives, but their executives are now using them in their habit forming. I'm about to go for a run. I want to go skiing in 3 weeks. My child doesn't feel well. My whatever. I ate way too much last night. What do I do today? Right in there, as opposed to just what we're doing over here. So for me, corporate wellness, or like, how do I build teams?
Mm-hmm.
I'm building a team. Well, genuinely, if I need my team up and going, not everybody should eat the same thing all the time or take the same supplements, but I can make little individual assessments for you and have the best team. It's Moneyball, right? Like, and if you can do that in your own space, then the choices you make, right? My father used to say to me, the choices you make limit the choices you have, neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
That's a very wise thing to say. That's
right. So the choices you make then should maybe be predicated on exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So
totally agree with that. Wow, that's awesome. I love that. So it's 30 seconds. All you're doing is speaking into what are you speaking into?
So at this exact moment in time, we're in our MVP. So right now, I have it's a push situation. Simply meaning you go to tonewell.co, you buy your package, you get a notification on your phone. If you're an iPhone, you're using your voice memo. If you're an Android person, you're using what's called voice record. No big deal. They both create the same file, an M4A file. That file gets emailed to us, instantly pulled up into our cloud, and then we deliver to you via email our report and our readout. That's as of today.
And how long does all that take? So 30 seconds to record.
Under an hour. It will take you a minute. It will take you a minute, and the transom within inside of the turnaround is you'll have it within inside of the hour. By the first of the year, I'm moving everything over to SMS. I had to do HIPAA compliant and FDA, even though I'm 100% not medical. I'm adjacent. We still follow all of the rules, and information data rules are very important.
That's smart
because of the word I'm about to use, which is tokenized. So by the first quarter of next year, what we'll do is you'll come to tonewell.com, you'll buy your package. When you sign up and confirm who you are, you'll get a push SMS link to your phone, so you don't have to do anything else. But that push SMS link is what's called tokenized. So I know that if Mike comes back later, I know that it's Mike, right? And I can now start building a profile for you, but I have to protect your information with both FDA and HIPAA compliance. So I just say that to say there was a longer API build out in that. But come the first of the year, the first quarter of next year, that's what the relationship will be. So you'll get the link, you hit the link, it hyperlinks you directly into our system. You record 30 seconds, and then it's totally frictionless for you. And the rest of the relationship happens, meaning you'll get the email with the data and so on and so forth.
So how soon do you get, so when you go to that system in the beginning of the year, how soon do you get the report back?
Is it within 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That's completely scalable.
That's a game changer.
Well, it's not. Well, here's the thing. I can get it to you in less than an hour at the moment. But as I said earlier, like, there are a couple hurdles here. One of them is just bare bone education. How do you know it works? Oh, I got that. That's easy. The second one is people don't understand value in speed. Like, that's the part of Moore's principle that doesn't always carry over. Smaller, faster, smaller, faster, like what technology does. Right. So people don't always equate speed to value. So even though it takes 20 seconds for your file to be processed, and we'll call it another 25 seconds for it to be, webhook, pull it up, processed by JSON script, AI, emailed out, and I can have it to you in under 2.5 minutes. If I did it in under 5 minutes, people just don't believe that there's value in it. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but to your point of instantaneous is not actually the case. If you could instantly get into the club, you probably wouldn't go. Right. So you're okay with the 3-person online. When it's 200 people online, you say, F that, I'm going someplace else. But when it's 3 people online, you're like, oh, that place must be the place. Right. And that little nuance is why right now, when it's still the push back and forth, we've kept it in under an hour, so that, and it actually is somewhat true, but not really true, so that you feel that there's still a physical operation happening. But as soon as I've sent it to you automatically via SMS, like, it should be then, through the chute, because then that's what your expectation actually will be. There's a strange customer psychological profile that you have to look at, right?
Well, I can see that. I can see that, and it's got to be something that you're communicating, right? Where you're explaining to them, look, this is what's happening, right? The system
Yes.
is generating this for you, and we've gone to the effort to automate it. A lot of times I would think if you shared with them, hey, this process used to take 6 hours. Now, we got it down to less than an hour. Now we got it down to 5 minutes.
Yep.
Right? Same thing, same technology, same all
Yes.
that, but it's just streamlined, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly that, and that actually happens to be the case.
Yeah.
In building out a better equipment, you're like, oh wow, this is heavy. I don't need that. I don't
Yeah.
need that. I don't need that. But for me, in the world that we live in, speed to market matters,
Mhm.
right? So I built it off the shelf, like legitimately, other than what we're doing on the processing side, which
Mhm.
has taken an enormous amount of, development and whatever. Everything
Sure.
else, like the funnel,
Yeah.
like, I could have gone to Costco and just grabbed a funnel and put you from the top into the bottom, right? And
Right.
that's essentially what you do when you're a startup working through your MVP.
Yeah.
Our moat is our technology,
Yeah.
not the, hey, how are you? My name is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll send kids out with clipboards. Damn it, they've been doing it for 70 years.
Right.
That part doesn't matter. What matters is the engagement, and that's why we slowed it down, so you get the feel. Right now, it's the value in it, and as soon as we open up the chute, it's But the other side of it is also, once we open up that next thing, we're also going to spread out our offer. So
Yeah.
right now we only have the offering of what I'll call our big report. It's 8 to 10 pages, depending upon who you are. And it's $100 engagement currently, and that's what it's at. Once we open up the next side of it, I'll have 2 offerings, and not including our package, but I'll have 2 offerings, one of which is like legitimately what I'll call a snapshot of the snapshot.
Right.
This is today, right here, right now. And the other one is like, if over your next 2 weeks, this is what you're doing, and this is the deeper dive, and this is informational, and then from there, what our bundle will be. And practitioners are a different conversation, but
Yeah.
that's where it goes for us.
So, can I ask you something?
Sure.
So, do you find it remarkable? And again, I'm just asking. Do you find it remarkable that you sort of, through your life, because of dyslexia, have adapted to being auditory, right? So you listen better. It's almost like when they take
Yes.
your eyesight away, you feel, right?
Sure.
Like if you're blindfolded, you feel, you hear, you taste, you smell. All those senses are used more. They're more sensitive, right?
Yep.
Do you find that sort of remarkable that
It's funny.
you have dyslexia, you've been adapting to that your whole life, and
So
now you have a technology that's audio based, that's diagnostic.
my answer is no,
This is
because
cool.
it just makes sense linearly. Like, it drives my wife crazy. Like, I'll put on a lecture and I'll
Yeah.
take a nap.
Yeah.
And then I'll wake up from the lecture and she'll be like, you didn't hear any of that. I go, you want to quiz me? And she'll ask me questions and I'll answer them. And she goes, how'd you know that? I was like, because I was listening. Everything else was shut off, but my ears work.
Right.
Now, mind you, she is like, I like to read, but she's a voracious reader. She's a stack of 5 books at the same time with a pen out, and no light reading at all. Like,
Wow.
real heavy reading.
Yeah.
And she has a plan and a thing, and I'll just sit down and listen to something, because if I get it, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm a feel player.
Yep.
Right? Like, there are certain things, as I've said it a bunch of times, like, if you need me to look at that,
Mhm.
I'm the best look at that guy,
That's it.
But you really want me to read that? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Now I have to.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So just knowing that, you then play to your strength.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so my ears, yes. Now to the irony of it.
Mhm.
So I got to this technology vis-a-vis another company that I was working with, a client that's in the PEMF space that uses frequency completely differently.
Yep.
An amazing company that does PEMF, and their practical use of frequency, sine wave, and what's dialed in their programs is unbelievable.
Yep.
And I was having a conversation with one of the founders one day that founded it because he was trying to cure himself of Lyme's disease, had like almost terminal Lyme's disease. And he figured it out using frequency. And we were having a conversation and he said something and I just instantly came back with the answer. He said, how did you do that? I said, what are you talking about? He said, I just told you like one of the most complicated parts of the equation of the blah, blah, blah. And I went, no, you didn't. You're talking about Ohm's law. He said, what? And in my brain, I took a I took a science course, like an earth science sound course in like 10th grade at Columbia Preparatory School in New York City.
Yeah.
And I can still remember the teacher who had a very heavy patois accent, great guy. And so I can still remember him telling me about Ohm's law. Like when somebody says Ohm's law, I actually hear it in my head with his accent. I could not hear it without the accent, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But it's instantly there.
Yep.
And I said, oh, but Ohm's law says, and he goes, why do you know Ohm's law? And I said, because somebody told me it one day, and probably 10 years later, I had to fix a capacitor on something. And probably 10 years after that, when I was talking to somebody in packaging, and in the packaging of like how the carton got it folded, they were telling me about the electrical whatever, right? And here I am 10 years further down the road, and you're talking to me about PEMF that I happen to know well because I've managed combat guys, UFC guys, fighters. Like I get the tech. But that quip, because it was a quip, it was like we were just sparring and I came back with a quip. But that quip got him to say to me, do you want to talk to the guy that actually invented it? And I went, oh, yeah, sure, why not?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, you don't have to ask me twice.
The guy, and mind you, the person that made the introduction is a partner in the Master of Technology, so I didn't cut anybody out. I'm not that dude. But I spoke to the guy, and I said, so you guys are just sciencing, huh? He's like, yeah, that's all I want to do. I want to science, meaning like whatever the next thing is. And I went, well, I'm a two-market guy, like chocolate peanut butter moment, right? Can I go make Reese's with your peanut butter?
Right.
Like it's just peanut butter. It's just great peanut butter. But I know chocolate. You know, and that's what got me here. So some of it is just paying attention. Real quick. Some of it is because I understand the auditory world and how I get by. I can listen to 5 conversations at once. I can sit in a restaurant, be talking to you here, completely present, and hear all of the other, and I can answer. And it drives people crazy because I like, you know, people watching is like my favorite sport in the world.
I love it. I think it should be an Olympic event.
But sarcastic commentary under my breath is even more fun. So I'll sit there and listen to somebody talking. I'll be like, oh no, you blah, 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 blah. And like my wife or my friends are like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my God, you got to hear this conversation over there. Like, how'd you do that? Because I'm just splitting my brain. Like there's a wonderful musician named Charlie Hunter. He's one of those guys that can play like, I think it's like an 8-string guitar because it's half guitar, half bass. And he plays both rhythm and lead at the same time. Well, that's a guy playing piano, splitting his hands, but doing it on a guitar in time, playing 2 instruments at once.
That's a talent. It's a talent.
Unbelievable. But if you can do that, then you can do that anywhere. I bet you that he's a great like one-handed juggler as he's typing also.
I bet he is too.
So that to me is where it came in. So when I saw this technology, not only did I see it, let me go into business, but I got it implicitly. Because I am a guy that listens to meditation music because sometimes it's just too noisy in my head and I don't want a song that I know. So I'll just put tonal music on. I am a person, when you talk to somebody and you fix their you know what I'm saying, you help them with the little jiggers in the middle so you understand what their bandwidth is, right? Or you better watch your tone with me. Well, your tone is off when you say that. You should do this, right? And you're not, you're doing this. Right? Those little things. So when I came across this, I went, okay, not only do I get it, but I actually also see the opportunity in the market. And that's really important. Like I've not been entrepreneurial until this moment because I was always building somebody else's thing, music, brand, talent, whatever. And when I saw this, I went, oh, I can do this because I see the void in the market. Now, it's one of the hardest chases I have, I'm chasing people to the end of the earth because I've already done an infrastructure deal, which is what I figure Aura and Whoop are. They're infrastructure deals.
Yeah.
That's how you're collecting huge data on everybody.
Yeah.
It's not what I am.
Yeah.
I'm a well-being business. I want you to have a sense of well-being. How's Mike doing? I hope he has a sense of well-being. It's different than you saying, how's Mike's wellness?
Yeah.
Does Mike have wellness?
Excuse
me. Nobody says that, right? So,
well, people are saying it more because they're starting to understand, right? Like we talked about before we started, you and I talked about sort of the thing that I went through a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Wellness took on a complete, I lost 162 pounds.
Okay, but understand this. Wellness is a category of sales. So is green, so is organic, and now longevity. Because longevity is, how are you playing the longevity game?
Exactly.
You could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Your longevity game ain't that good.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, what's interesting to me in wellness and why wellness matters is because wellness are the things that should be better for you, but well-being is what you want, right? I want a sense of less anxiety. I want less stress. I want to sleep better. I want to feel better. I want less pain. I want a sense of better being. I want my being to be well.
Yeah.
It's fun wordplay because we always forget the building blocks of our language because we just keep adding on to them phonetically, but we've stopped how do I speak about myself matters. PMA, positive mental, that matters. If you go into something, I'm gonna eat the world, you're gonna come better off than I'm gonna come in super meek and maybe this might work for me, right? So in that mindset of the words that we use, I just make the difference between I've sold a lot of shiny objects, and wellness is a sales category. Just like I could buy an organic certificate or a kosher certificate or a vegan halal certificate. You can buy those for your factory, right? It's the interaction that you want somebody to have, and for me, that's well-being.
I totally 1000% agree with what you're saying. The thing that I'm getting at is since COVID, well-being is a thing, right?
Oh, yes.
Wellness is a thing.
It matters.
And it's more important today because people watch the people that they love die.
Right. So you'll dig this because you said it to me. You're 59, right? So how did you wake up 59? Because I have no idea how I just woke up 53. I have no idea. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no gaps in my memory. So I remember how I got here, but I have no idea how I woke up at 53. So now I have to play a different game.
It was like just so you know.
Not only am I playing a different game, but I come from the Generation X. Nobody's coming to save you.
Yeah.
So I know that if I'm not pushing literally until my last breath, I don't care how successful or wealthy I become because scales have changed. When we were kids, $1 million was everything. If you're not a billionaire now, do you even matter?
Yeah.
Okay. So now they've showed us the first trillionaire, and you're like, that's great, guys. But all I'm seeing is that you're moving the end zone. Yeah. So for that, I need to play the wellness game.
Yeah.
But I do that in my actions and my choice. When I used to work for Sony, I smoked cigarettes and I drank Coca-Cola as my main beverage. The second I left Sony, I stopped drinking Coca-Cola because it was no longer free. And inside of 3 months, I quit smoking cigarettes. That was 18 years ago. I'll never go back to that. Even the 15 pounds that I lost inside of 2 weeks made me go, oh, what else can I stop eating and drinking and get a better, right? COVID, wherever you fell on the line of it doesn't much matter. You recognize that it woke you up to how fragile the world was, right? Now, I happen to be a person that was on my way to the World Trade Center for 9/11, and I watched it happen, and my business was adversely affected by it, let alone friends that I've lost. So I understand the fragility of the moment, but the wellness industry, what's interesting and why I think it's come up so much, and I said this during COVID, is that you actually had time to yourself and you are never giving that back.
Yeah.
That's the thing that broke was like, I am no longer just like, I'm running a startup right now, and there's a day a week that I won't point out that I actually sleep in purposely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. On this random day during the week, by the way, you're not talking to me before XYZ. I do jujitsu every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. The world thinks that I have an ongoing appointment. I do. It's when I like doing jujitsu at the gym with the guys that I like to roll with. You're never getting that back.
Right.
You can never pay me X amount of dollars for that hour. Sorry, it's just mine. That's, to me, what I mean between wellness and well-being. Wellness is like the where did NAD come from all of a sudden? Oh, now we're taking MNN or peptides or exosomes, all of which I love, work in, understand them. But that's the delivery. It starts with your sense of well-being. What do you want for you?
Yeah. Well, wellness is what you make of it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the
ultimate, longevity.
Yeah, the ultimate is well-being, right?
Yes.
But wellness is what you make of it. Like when COVID hit and they shut down my gyms, I walked 136 miles in 30 days.
I'm sure you did.
I did, because I had to get outside. I had to get some sun on my face. I had to, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was climbing the walls, including me.
I do. I actually trained jujitsu for whatever that year and a half was, because ultimately before gyms, in people's garages.
Yeah.
Because there was no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I actually am a human being, and not to get into any side.
And where you are, they shut everything down for like years.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
So I used to do a lot of work, and I still do, as a place I love, in Costa Rica, right? And you'll recognize that Costa Rica has a bunch of great things going for it, one of which is the amount of quartz that's in the rock and the ground, which really does actually help you resonate. A frequency amplifier. And when you recognize that they shut down beaches, which is you go sitting on silica, which is 100% conductive, and blocking the UV rays into your eyes, which every 3 minutes your blood cycles through your eyes. So if you have good UV on a silica, which is amplifying that, it's how you kill viruses.
So we're clear?
Putting it out there.
Yeah. And just so we're clear, vitamin D is a big deal, right?
And if you then took that and then walked into the salt water, you're now, I don't know, a battery.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Crazy
just
stuff.
So we're clear.
Just so we're clear how science.
Just point it out.
Right. So those type things, those recharge, reset, and as soon as that was not available to you, you went, so what is this giant yolk that is sitting right here?
Right. Yeah.
And you began to look at what well-being meant for you. Now, we all had to go back to it, man. The parade kept marching. You had to get back into it. But what are you now not willing to give back? Yeah. I'm not willing to give back that time. I definitely won't ever eat that again. There's no chance that, that XYZ, and it goes on and on and on. And those actions, those little choices that we make now are really where, tech like mine comes in. I'm not trying to tell you anything outside of what you should do. These are some recommendations.
Right.
This is how I understand that I can have a conversation with you to have a better relationship with yourself. And this is what the science actually shows. This is 25 years of studies and 25 years of papers and independent thought and computer algorithm and
So you mentioned atlases, and we were just having a conversation the other day about Thomas Brothers guides, right? Because my kids remember when they were little, they're now 25 and 27, they remember Dad having these map books, right? And using these map books to go places and all that kind of, they remember all that.
Yeah, of course.
And what's fascinating is today, if you want to go somewhere, like you want to go, someplace that you've never been to before, you'll put that destination in your phone, in your, whatever it is, Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever, you'll put it in and it'll tell you how to get there. In fact, sometimes it'll give you 2 or 3 different ways to go, right?
Yeah, and you want to stop
and how long it should take and all that, right? And it counts, traffic and all that kind of thing. Well, that's really what you're doing for people. What you're doing for them and their body is you're sort of giving them a roadmap. You're saying, look, you need to hydrate more. Look, you need to do this. Look, this is lacking. You need more magnesium, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, your voice reflects how your nervous system and your physiology are operating at all times.
And that's just,
so to your point,
that's just remarkable.
If I can give you the roadmap for it, if we can give you some suggestions along the way, this is how to have the best trip, the best result, the best outcome. That really is where we're trying to fall into, and to your to the point we were making earlier about like just going out and having that rock on tour, that adventure, that also comes with understanding the machine that you're using, right? And how you're gonna push through something, and how you can ask for optimal result on something. We have a bunch of people that have been using them on like the retreat cycle, and we're working with trying to get a pilot program together, I should say, with a wonderful retreat center out in Palm Desert who specializes in very particular modalities, right? And they've been doing it since '84 or something like that.
Wow.
And when in talking to them, they're like, well, Alex, why would we change it up? I'm like, I'm actually not asking you to change anything. What I'm saying to you is that when somebody comes in for your particular menu of things, they're there for that experience. And if I can give you a little more data on them, then you guys, as the experts, can just turn the dial a little bit.
Yeah.
And that becomes the opportunity for them here. Now, not for nothing, as a consumer goods person, what that also does is they're going to take that home. And when they take it home, obviously through you guys as my affiliate, right? And now how quicker are they going to come back? Right. Maybe next quarter, maybe 3 weeks from now. Right. And that builds that relationship.
And they're going to start talking about it too.
Yes.
Right. Because it gives them the roadmap. It gives them an idea. This is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing. Then you check back in, right? You check back in a week later or a month later or whatever it is. And it tells you, okay, now you need to be doing this. That's absolutely totally brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
I mean, I don't know. I could speak forever about things that I'm interested in. I think that we've done a pretty good job of covering the base. I
thought you did an amazing job.
I honestly, I think that what's really important here is the opportunity of where we are today. We've moved into quantum, right? We've just moved out of that Newtonian, it's this one way, right? And we've moved into the quantum age of actually your individual person and your experience can be qualified and then quantified. And that's where we're in that space that I want to help you have that relationship with yourself, as opposed to, again, like big broad diagnostics are awesome for their place, but that's not a way that you manage your day to day. Right. And we're really in like, let me help you optimize your day to day.
That's awesome. So the company the place they go is Tonewell.com?
Tonewell.co.
Oh, sorry. Tonewell.co.
C-O.
Okay. So Tonewell.co, and they can sign up and they can do the voice thing.
It's super straightforward.
And everything's emailed to them and the whole thing. And then you're going to go SMS after the first of the year.
It's a very straightforward system. It's very easy to do. I myself, if anybody needs me, I'm just alexfredericks.com. But most importantly, if you go to tonewell.co, at the very bottom is a support@tonewell.co email. Just hit us up, ask us anything. We make sure that everything gets answered every day. Obviously, you'd imagine as a startup company, it's important that all of our customer service really, really sings. So.
Absolutely. So it's Alexander Fredericks on LinkedIn. I found you on LinkedIn. We've connected, you and I. And so people can find you on LinkedIn too, but it's alexfredericks.com.
alexfredericks.com.
And it's Fredericks.
I've been on the web so long that
Fredericks, just so you know. So it's Fredericks. So it's, so there's an E in there, right? It's not, So, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a blast.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, sir.
You're awesome, buddy.
Take care.
Can I ask you a question? Did you know that there's a technology that uses sound waves that'll tell your brain what to do? There literally is. It's called newcalm.com. It can tell your brain to heal, tell your brain to sleep, tell your brain to do all kinds of things. It can get you fired up. It can be a pre-workout. Newcalm.com. And the promo code is Mike15, newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at the Mike Litton Experience.